What's going on, YouTubers? Welcome to another video. So, now that we have determined that we're not going to do the anime line, and we're also doing a few other things, I believe we are in the final preparations to finish off the collection and, get every remaining piece in to close out this chapter in my life. There are a few select pieces that might be able to wiggle themselves into my collection. Depends how good a few pieces are. But I did want to go room by room to tell you guys kind of what my plan is right now. So from this display all the way to this, we're not touching anything. We're done. We're not adding another piece to that part of the collection. We're done. For Lord of the Rings, I really do want the cave troll, don't get me wrong. I really want to see the finished prototype, the final dimensions, but I know the only way for me to even fit it is to put another garage shelf, like one of these, right here, meaning it'd come out to about right here. And then you'd have to put it right there, which would also mean you'd have to move Sauron and Gandalf Ultimate, which would be such a pain. It just causes too many issues that I just don't know if I would consider it. It's going to be too big of a piece. Unless they offer a smaller version, I don't think we'll get it. What we will get is Gandalf Ultimate, the Witch King bust. Frodo will be lowered, and we'll probably get the Pure Arts Gollum mask. I could technically throw it right there or right there, probably next to Frodo. Or we may just get like a small silicone Gollum bust, not the Pure Arts one, if I find like a different one. But I'll probably just get the Pure Arts simply due to price, displayability, availability, so forth. The other piece I will add to this room will be the Deep Tail Jungle Hunter Predator bust. It's going to basically go right here. We'll remove this, remove that poster, lower that right there. You just have to scoot this over and you can fit it right there. Now, there is a possibility that we may remove the Deep Tail and Jungle Hunter 1/3 and do Neytiri Avatar. The bust and the 1/3. I could fit the 1/3 here, the bust in the closet. That is definitely a huge possibility. And it would definitely give me something more unique in this room instead of a Predator. So it's something I'm highly considering. I'm kind of wanting to see the Deep Tail in person and, a few other things in the collection. But, that's the only things in this room that, might change is whether we're going to do Predator here or Neytiri. Everything else is like set in stone. And as of right now, this one could potentially change, but this is the Zelda display. We're going to get Dream Studios Ganondorf. He'll go right here. And eventually this will be Princess Zelda. And we'll remove that link and throw him back in here. The Jurassic setup here is done. I have considered moving it to the main room once we get the Jurassic statue, but ultimately I think it's still best to keep this here. But who knows, maybe I do consider that once it's in the hands. So, we decided not to do the anime line. And that is actually sold, so we're going to get that out of the collection. This, I've had a few inquiries, but no one committed yet to buying. But, that will be sold. This will be Z Warriors. We have the Dragon wall-mountable bust coming. We'll probably just throw it right there. And also potentially right there. Those are the two options I'm thinking of. Theoretically, I could also throw it in the middle of them, but I'm thinking right there and there. Now, if it doesn't work in either spot and it just looks god-awful horrible, I do have the alternative option of throwing it right there on that wall. Now, for video games, I'm really looking just to add a few more statues. Ideally, I wish it was all Prime 1. However, Prime 1 is not making a few of this, licenses I do want, but we'll get Prime 1 Last of Us statue. That's done, pre-ordered, coming home. I'm still waiting to see if Prime 1 will actually do Ragnarok and Elden Ring because they did announce the license, but they have done nothing for 2 years. So Prime 1 has been notorious for announcing licenses, but then never actually fulfilling and making a statue from said license. So, if they don't make Ragnarok, then I'm done with God of War. I'm not buying anything else. I'll just keep what I have. It's, in reality, a perfect setup. I still would love to get Ragnarok If they do make it, I'll get it. If they don't, it's fine. And then Elden Ring, I would love to get a Millennia. There are a few customs I've been eyeballing, like the Cool Bear one. I think that one looks really good, and I could, fit it right here in the setup. That Kratos can easily be moved right there. But Millennia, and then I want Eve from Stellar Blade, and a Tifa Lockhart. Potentially Clive from FF16, because that game was just so freaking good for me. I really liked Clive. And if there was a really good Final Fantasy VII line, like that good, I would definitely buy it. Cloud, Tifa, Aerith, Sephiroth. I would definitely consider it. And so that's kind of like my main plans for video game and DBZ. The only DBZ statue that I really, 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 really want is KD Goku vs. Vegeta. Most likely I'll get it in the collection, but, the only place it could even fit on this entire wall is where the busts are at. Now, due to just how massive it is, it's as tall as KD Goku bust. Like, it's a huge piece. Like, if you moved KD Goku bust over, you could fit the dial right there. Of course, you have Vegeta bust there, and he's also a tall piece, and he would not fit basically anywhere else. So, yeah, it's definitely a tough one. I don't know if Vegeta bust could fit on this shelf. If I was to lower this shelf and remove Prime 1 Goku, then you could do Vegeta next to the, that, and then the Dio there, and then you have to find a new spot for Prime 1 Goku. So it's definitely a difficult one, but I definitely really do want that KD Goku versus Vegeta. That's probably one of the best DBZ statues I've ever seen in my whole life. So I may have a buyer for Queen Hulkbuster. Now, don't get me wrong. I think Queen Hulkbuster is a grail. This is the Shockwave of Marvel statues. It is ridiculously good. However, it's out of place. You know it. I know it. And it's in my best interest to just sell it. Even though I'm going to take about a $1,500 loss. Well, more than that. I'm going to take probably, after shipping, $2,000 in losses for this piece. I wish I never bought it. I love it to death. It's a grail, but it just is out of place and it doesn't fit my existing setup. And I'm never going to be buying a bigger home. Houses are too expensive in Utah. I'll put it into perspective. My house cost me $200,000 when I bought it brand new, like 13 years ago. If I was to sell this house right now or buy an equivalent house, it would cost me $650,000. And at 8% interest rates or 7%, you're looking at over $5,000 a month in a mortgage. I could not afford that. No way. No freaking way. Like, Utah's just too expensive. Like, if I didn't have my house now, I would move out of Utah. It's too expensive to live here now. So, yeah, I'm never buying a bigger home unless I'm moving out of state. And that's extremely unlikely, like 0.0001% chance. So I have to plan for my setup as is in my collection. And as is, Hulkbuster's out of place. We need to move Doctor Strange over and do an Iron Man bust there. Now, there is the potential for the one Iron Man bust, like the perfect one, with the perfect likeness and everything. However, I'm still a little iffy if that's even legit or not. Like, some sources are telling me it's all photoshopped and faked. The guy that posted all the photos on Facebook the other day saying, oh, it's real, this and that, and then wanting to take pre-orders, all of a sudden all his posts are gone when people pointed out that some of the photos were photoshopped. I'm like, oh gosh, is this even real? One of my Chinese contacts told me there's 30 of them being made and all 30 are sold out. He says there's one available for $10,000. And I'm like, oh God. So obviously I'm not going to spend 10 grand on that bust. And who knows if there's only 30 or if it's real at all, if there's only one prototype made. It's really hard to say on that one. Until it's actually shipping, that whole project is still iffy because several of my contacts have told me they can pre-order it. It's a $2,000 deposit, but they're not even sure it's legit. So I'm like, goodness. However, if for some reason that one doesn't pan out, there is the Inner Studio one where he's doing the snap. Now, the snap one, I still think it looks great. I don't think it's Queen Studios quality, but I do think it looks really good. Alternatively, I could, just kind of return the setup to the way it was before bring Hulk up, bring back Venom in this display, do the unmasked Tom Holland bust with Venom, and just do one Spider-Man bust over here, and bring back Deadpool and Wolverine in this display. That's definitely a possibility. So it kind of depends on that Iron Man bust, but ultimately I do want this to be just my Marvel bust wall. That's my goal. And still hoping that Resin GK actually will ship my Darkseid bust I've been waiting 125 days for. If he does, it's going to go right there. If he doesn't ship it, I will give up at that point. I'm not going to try to buy it again. I'm going to be like, screw it. It was not meant to be in this display. And I'll just return Cyborg and Flash top shelf. We'll put those two back over, do Cyborg and Flash. And, you know, at that point, you know, I would have this space, which is previously where Hulkbuster went. However, I could try to fit these statues. I mean, at least 2 of them would fit there. Potentially 3. Because ultimately, I would love this to be Wolverine and Deadpool display. I think that would go best in my setup. Wolverine and Deadpool with busts, you know, and 1/4. And then this would be the additional DC 1/3. We will see. I mean, Resin GK tells me it's going to be picked up by DHL. He guaranteed me Monday pickup. He's like, guaranteed. So we will see. Because I would love to get the Darkseid bust, because I do think it looks really cool. I think it'd go great here. Seems like Hulkbuster will likely be sold, so if that's the case, this may be the final week we see him in the collection. We'll see. No, I still really love this piece. I really do. It's really big. And it definitely goes better higher up than lower. That's for sure. Still need to sell this Vegeta bust. So if anyone's interested, contact me. I do accept payment plans. If you want to throw me out an offer, feel free to do so. But this room, there's not a ton that's really going to be changing. We're going to get the Queen T-Rex in the middle. And then we're just going to add Terminator. You know, the 2 Prime 1s, Arnold and T-1000, the remaining Darkseid line, and the Prime 1 Endo 1/3. That's pretty much it for this room. Like, we're not really doing much more. The only other thing I probably will do is get the Selene from Underworld. You know, by PCS. We will, as long as her likeness is good, we'll get her. She's the one piece I really do want. So, I mean, ultimately, I could throw a glass shelf right here and do Selene on top. That would work. Also give me space for a statue below. There's no space in this setup for Selene. So she would need to be like a one-off over there near Blade. But we do want to get Selene. You know, she's definitely a piece I want to get in this collection. The only other statues that might have the possibility of entering my display, ECC Hellboy, the 1/3. Those are definitely high on consideration list. I do want to see some in hands, and I still think you can get them even when they're shipping. I don't think it'll be a huge problem. You know, we'll see what happens with potential future Mortal Kombat statues. You know, how good they look. You know, like I said, I would love to own the original cast. Of course, I'm out of space, but I would be willing to part ways with Baraka and Quan Chi to get OG cast members. And of course, I could also sell Scorpion and Sub-Zero since I have 1/3 of them. That way you could do Sonya, Johnny Cage, and Kano in this setup. And Shang Tsung. If we got, you know, those 4 to replace those 4, then I would have the entire cast in at least one statue form. You know, ideally I'd love to have them all in 1/4, but anyways, I think this is a solid plan to solidify the collection and, you know, have it in that ultimate stage. Now, if KD makes a Majin Vegeta bust, that may change things up. As far as I'm aware, he's not doing it, but that would definitely stir things up a little bit and reinvigorate the whole anime line idea, or at least expanding DBZ a little. As of right now, there's, you know, I still want to get the KD Goku versus Vegeta. I gotta see it in person. I want to see how good that statue is. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it, folks. I think the collection, it's evolved, I swear, dozens and dozens and dozens of times over the years. You guys have seen how many massive statue collection updates have I done. There's no doubt the collection is at its absolute best right now in terms of display, statues in the display, and so forth. It's improved drastically over the years. There's not going to be any more major changes. There could be some changes. For example, if Prime 1 does the God of War Ragnarok line and we need this display space, we make that a 3-tiered unit. There is like 30 inches right here that I could utilize to build a 3-tiered shelf and put Resident Evil top shelf there. Like, that is an extreme possibility, So there's definitely things like that where for video games, I would consider at least doing this a 3-tiered shelf to give me that space for Ragnarok. Ragnarok is one of the most, key things I would definitely want in the display. So, yeah, we will see. But, basically, pretty much all my pre-orders cover everything I said I will be getting or want to get. The only ones that are still TBD is Stellar Blade, Final Fantasy VII, Elden Ring. Like, I'm tempted to get the Cool Bear Millennia. I think it looks good. The scaling seems to look really good. I think it'd go right in the display. Question begs, how good's the quality in comparison to Prime 1? I'd like to see some side-by-side. So if any of you own it and own Prime 1, send me a photo. I want to see what it looks like. What does it look like next to Bloodborne, for example? Because I want my Soul games ideally together. I was even thinking of doing Millennia right there and moving Jin Sakai where Kratos is at. That way I could have all 3 Soul games together. Because I don't really consider Ghost of Tsushima, it's not a Souls game. Anyways, yeah, that is the plan, folks, to finish off the ultimate statue collection for me. But let me know what you guys think. Any, ideas or whatnot. I always take those into consideration, but I think it's a solid plan. We do need to sell Tanjiro, Vegeta bust, Hulkbuster. I still don't have a confirmed buyer, but I do have a few potential candidates saying, hey, I'm interested. But anytime someone says I'm interested, I take that with a grain of salt. Until they send that payment, it's just a grain of salt. Anyways, folks, like, comment, subscribe. Have a great day.